I've made it. Anopode 11. Natural philosophy prefers natural metaphors. Oh, there's all kinds of things, but everything's natural. And then all metaphors are therefore natural. No, well, but not relatively, because relatively is like, well, how often do you see it in nature? You know? So, this thing of predation that bothers so many people watching the predation, and is that right, that the world works that way? Well, it's a natural metaphor. As a natural philosopher, we're going to draw from that. Does it mean that everything we do has to be predation? No, it doesn't. You know, we could also look in the world and say, there's been war for thousands of years, but I could say, but it's not natural. Why? Because though it's been ubiquitous for us, I don't see the natural metaphor. I see conflict in predation, and it doesn't look at all like war conflict. Killing things and leaving them to rot, that's not what happens in nature mostly. Outside man, okay. In natural philosophy, you include mankind as part of the world of nature. But it's obviously just a little part. Even if we take over the whole planet, no, we're not talking about biomass here. We're talking about possibilities. How much of a part of the whole possibility of nature is mankind? So there's a lot of weird things in nature where animals use methods that you don't seem to find elsewhere. You know, so those metaphors are natural, but less compelling. A natural philosopher likes very compelling metaphors. So as a result, we got into physics. Why? Because those are as universal as it gets for us. It's not based on so many of the things that differentiate us, say, from other animals or one individual from another. We're all in the same gravitational field. Even the relativism that turns out to be in play, because we can ignore because we're in the same rest frame, more or less. Right? So, natural philosophy is not about worshiping nature. It's not this thing, again, that some complain about of like aggrandizing nature and worshiping nature and saying it's great and a loving mother and everything else as a whole. Now, I believe the planet is a little bit like a loving mother, but the planet isn't nature, right? Nature is all of the stuff. We've learned a lot about nature by looking deep into space. We learned how physics here on Earth works, looking deep into space. So we're talking about starting when we're taking natural metaphors from the most, I obviously, you see I'm hesitating to call them universal, okay, because they're not literally universal, philosophically by the definition of that term. However, they're ubiquitous for humans. They are relatively universal if you want to invent a new type of term for universal that allows for this, you know, well, it's universal for this small group. Universal would mean for all groups, but for this small group of everything on Earth, the gravity is this. So the great metaphors, you know, great metaphors. One, the mistakes we've made in natural philosophy. The way we were mistaken about the sun going around the earth, good metaphor for the way we're mistaken about other things. Okay. Principles like the principle of relativity, conservation of energy, these are, you know, what goes around comes around. You know, the idea of karma, okay, as a mystical history, okay, a little bit related to this idea of conservation. Or in a material situation, you can imagine, you're a thief. You hang out with thieves. You get stolen from more than people that don't hang out with thieves. Okay, so these are all material metaphors from nature. So things you can see happening in nature, they help you apply. Relativism, you know, 2,000 years ago, it was just perceptualism. It was perspectivism. It's because I'm here and you're over there. We know we see different angles. It's easy. You draw a picture from your angle, I'll draw from mine, and we'll see, oh yeah, look, it's the other side of the object. I was on the other side. Okay. It was only really by the natural philosophers taking that principle into physics, working on it, you know, for hundreds of years, really. I could claim thousands, but let's face it, it was only really, you know, in the Enlightenment, maybe the Renaissance, just started to be really applying these ideas in natural philosophy to the point where they found out, you know, Galileo found out, wow, velocity is relative. That changed the concept of relativity, because as the natural philosopher, sure, we had skeptics' idea of perspectivism, okay, we put that in there, and we found, wait, in nature, this idea works differently. As a natural philosopher, we then are bound to take this new way that relativism seems to work in the natural world, okay, and apply it to our world. And why? Don't argue with me because everything's natural. Humans are natural. Make a separation. No. I say that we do this because we are a part of nature. And the illusion of being separate from nature, that can be done away with by pursuing natural philosophy. And that ultimately is its point.